Hey everyone, welcome to the God-Made Self-Driven Podcast. This is a podcast where we explore the transformative powers of faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun through the lives of everyday people. Rooted in the Catholic worldview, however, we welcome people from all backgrounds in a spirit of curiosity, unity, and inspiration. And I'll be honest, today I'm excited. I got a friend, high school friend, in the room today. He's a owner of Chapman's AC. He's a hunter. He's a good time. So I think this interview is going to be one full of laughter, maybe a couple of tears, maybe not. But this one's going to be fun. It's going to be serious, and it's just going to be really, edifying, I think, for a lot of people in many different ways. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Seth Chapman.
What's up, man?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Good. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
Third podcast ever, and
Come on.
yeah, I'm. Whenever you asked me to join it, I had a goal in 2025 to do at least 6 podcasts. So, and you didn't know about this goal, which is cool. So this is the third one. We'll see if I can get 3 more out of me, but this might be the last one of 2025. So
yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I think I could help you possibly get on at least one more.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. My buddy Dustin Vale, he does one called the Elevation Podcast in Lafayette. So
that's cool.
And and I think knowing some of your story, I think it would be could be a good one for you to be on.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So listen, man, for the ones out there listening, they may know you already as, the owner and operator of Chapman's AC. They may know you as that guy on social media that's defending bad reviews all around the nation.
That's it.
Which we'll get into that if you don't know what I mean by that. But before you were this business owner, man, you were a young man in South Louisiana. So kind of just share with us your story, man, where it all began to the point of you, owning and operating Chapman's.
Yeah. Okay. So I grew up in Esther, Louisiana, a little small community south of Abbeville. Yeah. Very, very small. I mean, I don't even know the population, but we had a church. That was about it. So I lived in Esther. Well, I guess I'll backtrack. I lived in Pecan Island my first 2 years of my life.
Okay.
Then we moved a little bit more north to Esther, and we lived there until Hurricane Rita. 2000. Actually, we just had the anniversary. September 23rd, 2005 was Hurricane Rita. We lost our house, as in most people did, and south of 14, pretty much.
100%.
And then that pushed us a little bit more north to Maurice, which is where I live until this day. Went to Mount Carmel from pre-K to remain Catholic senior year. Never skipped a beat. So I think I did pre-K twice because I was a little young the first time. So I ended up being
one of the older fun. You just wanted to do it.
Yeah,
it was just a lot of fun.
So anyway, I went to remain Catholic, and that's where me and Dustin have known each other for. I feel like I've probably known Dustin longer than he knew me because he's about 3 years older than me, but easily 20 plus years.
Oh yeah.
We ran track together my freshman year. He was a senior.
Yeah.
And we've just kept in touch. I think we've graduated, I don't know, 15 years or so ago. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, don't give my age.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
No, so that's awesome, man. And so growing up, were you into sports? Were you always doing something, working with your hands? Get into high school and as you got older.
I was. So I've always been a real outside guy. Like growing up, we had 3 TV channels. We didn't have internet. We didn't have any of that stuff. I'm making it sound like I was born in '60, but we had 10, 15, and 24. That was the 3 channels. So I was outside. Playing basketball early on. I played basketball 6th, 7th, 8th, and then I didn't try it in high school, but I did track. Track was my thing. I really excelled in track. I was just fast, for being a shorter guy, 5'10". Usually the taller guys are real quick, but and I jumped high jump. I went to state in high jump.
Come on.
Sophomore year, 6'1" was my high jump.
And they say white men can't jump.
That's what I'm saying. So it was fun, man. I really enjoyed track. I think I played football 6th, 7th, and 8th. Didn't. Yeah. Oh no, I did it freshman and sophomore year too. But I focused on track the rest of my high school career and just really had fun with it.
Yeah.
That's and the outdoors, track and the outdoors. Once I started working in high school, I just focused on track and that was it. Track and a job.
What jobs you had in high school?
So it's funny to say this. I used to be my first job I was about 14. I remember back whenever Centennial was a cell phone company.
Yeah.
I racked up a phone bill of like $900 because I was out of state at my cousin's house, and the text messages were like 30 cents a text message. Oh. And I was texting my little girlfriend, and I came back and my dad was like, "Hey, you got to get a job." So I had a $918 phone bill.
No way.
So I lived in Maurice at this time. So I went to Mr. Keats.
Oh, I remember that.
Restaurant.
Yeah,
A lot of people remember it. I worked there for a while. And then most people that went to Mr. Keats also worked at Village Cafe in Maurice.
Yeah.
I went to Village Cafe. I worked there for about a year. And then I think my junior year, I became a manager at AutoZone in Abbeville.
Okay.
And I worked at AutoZone Abbeville the rest of high school, junior, senior year, and then through trade school, where I chose to go for air conditioning refrigeration.
Oh, wow. So you knew in high school, your senior year, like what you wanted to do once you graduated.
Yeah. I kind of, look, I was not the most academically good in high school, but I knew that I was destined to work with my hands, and I already set it in stone that I wasn't going to a 4-year college, that I wanted to go to trade school. And that's what I did. My dad said, hey, you got to go to trade school for something. I'm going to pay for it, but you got to pick. He said, you got to go do electrical, plumbing, or air condition. He said, I don't really want you to weld because, most welders jump around. I said, look, it's a good trade. You make a lot of money. But I had this old guy at Park Restaurant one day. And he said, you need to go to plumbing school or air conditioning school because we're always going to need it. And I said, well, on a whim, I said, I'm going to go do air conditioning work. I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to figure it out.
Come on. And
that's where it all started. Was the old man in Park Restaurant.
No way.
Yeah.
And for people out there that's not from Abbeville, Louisiana, Park Restaurant is like a staple breakfast spot. You can catch 20, 30 men or whatever, even women in there early, Friday, Saturday, Sunday mornings, if not even during the week. So that's pretty awesome, man.
It is. Yeah, it was neat because I wasn't driving yet early on whenever I had that decision. And my dad always worked in the oil field, so we'd be at Park Restaurant at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And I'd sit down with all the old guys and I'd walk to VC across the street before I was even driving, So I got to experience a lot of the old knowledge.
Yeah.
From Abbeville.
Correct. So you graduate high school 2011, and I'm 3 years older than you. I graduated in 2008, and then you're in trade school, right? So how long is that process? When did you finish trade school?
So it's a 2-year program, and I think I did it in 18 months because I really wanted to get it done. About halfway through trade school, working at AutoZone, this lady came in, and she owned an air conditioning company locally. Her name's Rachel Landry, amazing lady. And I said, hey, I'm in school for air conditioning. I would love to come work for you. Let me know when you have an opening. She said, okay, call me when you finish. So, me working on AutoZone, she comes by again one day and I said, hey, do you have any openings right now? Like for me to work half a day with you? And she said, absolutely. She said, come by, grab a truck, grab the cell phone, grab the GPS, because they didn't have really GPS on the cell phones yet. Yeah. So she trusted me. I think I was 19, a 19-year-old working at AutoZone in trade school. She gave me a truck, gave me a cell phone, gave me a GPS, and I started work for her the next day. And I'd drive to school half a day and then go work for her half a day. No way. And that's where my HVAC career started, was with Landry's AC and Heating. Now it's Air Source One. It was with Rachel Landry. Yeah.
That's something I did not know about you.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Real cool lady. We still keep in touch. She's awesome.
Okay, so now you're a young man, you're making a little money on your own, you graduated from trade school and whatnot. So how long did you work, what's going on in life then? How long did you work for them?
So I worked for Rachel for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And in that time span, I had already purchased a house at 20.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 20 years old and I purchased my first house, and I realized it was going to be hard for me to move up real fast in the residential world and make the amount of money I needed to make in order to support me and my fiance at the time, which was my high school girlfriend.
Okay, high school sweetheart.
High school sweetheart. We were together since we were 16. So I was like, okay, I got to make money. So I went work offshore doing air conditioning.
Oh wow!
And I had a buddy that worked for a guy that owned the oil field company, the offshore company.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I do air conditioning work residential. I would like to go work offshore. And a lot of people don't know the ins and outs. You think about it, you got sometimes 100 people living on this platform that has air conditioning. So who fixes it? It's a certain few companies that fly out and fix these things. And that's where I spent the next 4 years, was working offshore commercial air conditioning. So I did that from 19 to 23. I worked for Rachel for about a year and a half. And then at 23 is when I started Chapman's.
Wow. So like working offshore, is it 14 and 14 like the regular working hands, or is it just on call?
It's on call all the time.
Oh, wow.
So you can choose to work a schedule. So the on-call schedule was 21 and 7. You worked 21 days straight. You might not be offshore those whole 21 days,
Yeah.
but if you got a phone call at the drop of a hat, you had to pick up, grab your bag, and go offshore. And then you could choose to have 7 days off. And then I would often work those 7 days because sometimes in that 21, I might be home for 5 or 6 days. So I had days off here and there, even though you couldn't plan a lot.
Yeah.
It was still days off. So I might get a phone call at 10 o'clock at night and say, hey, you need to be in Galliano tomorrow morning for 4 a.m. to catch a bird for 5.
Wow.
So I'd have to always have a backpack, get in my truck, go to Galliano, fix the air condition, get on the plane, get on the helicopter, get to the platform, fix the air condition, and they might be like, oh, we got a helicopter going back home. Go back home, get in my truck in Galliano, drive back home. I'm home for 8 o'clock that night.
Wow.
Then I might have off the next day.
And then we get called back out of the phone.
And then get called back out. It was a lot of driving. We got paid to drive though.
Yeah.
So I was very irresponsible with my money very early on. I think I made like $120,000 that first year offshore, and I blew it all. Didn't save anything.
Wow.
So irresponsible. But I was young.
Yeah, you were young.
I was 20 years old.
You were learning.
Yeah.
Living life. No, I tell people this all the time, it takes a different person to work offshore. I have a good buddy of mine. His name's Kobe Broussard, and I'm like real close friend, like one of my best friends. And to hear like they see their family half the time.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Like when your daughter or your son's 18 years old, you've only been on land for 9.
Yeah,
like that's a sobering reality.
Oh yeah.
When you know someone that's in it, I tell people all the time, it just takes a special person to provide for their family in that way. And so every time someone brings up offshore life, it always makes me kind of think about Kobe and the sacrifices those people make.
Yeah, that 14 and 14 schedule is ruthless. Even 7 and 7, because it's really 5 and 9 because you lose 2 days in travel depending on where you leave out of. So you get to experience so little time at home, then you back offshore.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm fortunate to have never worked that, but I feel like that would have been hard. Yes, you have designated time home, but you're still, I'm going to be gone for Christmas. I'm going to be gone for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. Okay, man. Well, all right. So we work for Miss Landry. We're working offshore, and then at 23.
Yeah.
Chapman's AC hits the scene.
So it's such a good story. So I was working offshore, but the last company that I worked for was called Control Concepts, and I was doing a little bit of air conditioning, but a lot of instrumentation and electric. I wanted to branch into the electrical side because I was like, hey, let me broaden my skill set. So this was kind of the downturn of the oil field, 2016. A lot of people were getting laid off. My dad got laid off. He was working offshore at the time. A lot of people didn't have jobs. So I was one of those that I wasn't laid off, but I was home for 3 months with no income. And I had to make, I had a house note.
Yeah.
I had a wife. I was married now.
Oh, you were married?
I got married May 30, 2015. So I'd already been married for probably 6 months. And that was difficult for me because I was like, I have to produce income. And the only way I know how is air condition. And I said, if I can just maybe clean a couple units a week, I can, maybe make a couple $100 to get me by until they call me again. Yeah. So I remember I made this Facebook post and I was like, hey, look, I'm home from offshore for a while. If you need your air conditioning unit cleaned, I'll be more than happy to come out. I gave like a little price list that I came up with. I think I Googled it or something. Or I might have even called a couple of air conditioning companies and asked them what they charge.
Come clean my house. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I worked up my own prices and then made a Facebook post. And I will say, I had a following on Instagram, and a lot of people would try and say, "Oh, that's how he blew up so quick." But my following on Instagram, I had like 40,000 followers, but it was from the truck scene. It was people from all over the world, United States, that followed me because of this one specific lifted truck that I have. So it's not like it was 40,000 people in Lafayette. Yeah, it was 40,000 people from all over the place. Yeah. So I started on posting on Facebook. Hey, look, here's a unit that I cleaned, and then somebody would call, and somebody else would call. And then I'm probably a month into it. So March, April, probably around May.
May of 2016.
And my oil-field company that I worked for called me back. And they were like, hey, you ready to come back to work? And I was like, man, I don't think so. I said, I think I'm going to quit. And he's like, are you sure? I was like, I don't know, but it's working right now. So I think I'm going to do it.
Oh, wow.
And I quit. I turned in all my stuff, and I went full-blown. I made some magnets for my truck, Chapman's AC magnets that I can take on and off.
Wow.
And my wife wasn't working either. So, which that can be a whole part that I get into. My wife was sick. She got sick whenever we were 18
Okay.
with lupus. Lupus gave her pulmonary hypertension. So she was in very bad health about 18 and 19. So we'd
Yeah.
been together since we were 16. So we were together 2 years.
Yeah.
We graduated high school. She got sick, but she
Okay.
finished college. It gave her so pulmonary hypertension. Look, I'm not a medical doctor.
Yeah.
So,
It's okay.
but
No one's gonna quote
it's
you here.
high blood pressure between the lungs and the heart in that general area.
Yeah.
I knew a lot about it back then, but I kind of forgot some of the
Yeah,
literature.
of course.
So she was in good health around the when I started my company.
Yeah.
But she wasn't working. She was stayed home.
Yeah.
She would kind of just tend to the house, and
Yeah.
it was to the point where she looked like she was in good health, but she would get very winded.
Yeah.
Like it's like you just ran a marathon, you know, and she was 100 pounds, so you couldn't tell.
Wow.
So I started Chapman's. I was like, I have to make it. There's no
Yeah.
option about me not making it.
I got my wife's home. I don't want
That's
her to
it.
work hard.
She has medicine. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't want her to go to work. So
Yeah.
I feel like that attributed to my success because I didn't give myself an option. It was like,
Yeah.
this is the only possible. I'm not going back offshore because
Yeah. She needs
this
me
is
around.
nice.
Yeah.
And she needs me here.
Yeah.
You know, and then it 2016 around May, we flooded in August
I
2016.
remember that.
The Great Flood. And
And you just went on your own.
and I just went on my own, and I
my spiritual mind is already like, oh wow, timing of that. But go ahead. Yeah.
I would drive through Youngsville once the waters went down, handing out business cards to all these
Wow.
Floodville houses and all these
Yeah.
Youngsville addresses in Lafayette. And I started obtaining work. Like, hey, my unit's out. And look, at this time, I'd already got my insurance. I'd figured out my licensing. I was legit.
Ready.
I was still driving around a truck, my big lifted truck, but I was legit. So we changed a bunch of units. And I feel like that's what kicked me off was that Youngsville flood.
Yeah.
And then my truck broke down. And I was like, oh no, now I don't have transport. But I had my wife's car. I had
No way.
a 2001 Toyota Camry. So what I would do is I would load up the back of the Camry with all the tools I had. And when I go to somebody's house, I'd park around the corner to where they wouldn't see me getting there with
A car.
a car. I'd grab my stuff, I'd knock on the door. Hey, where'd you park? Oh, I parked around the corner. I was working at another customer's house.
No.
I do my little thing, collect my check, go to the next call. And look, some customers
Caught you.
caught me doing it. It was funny. You know, one of them, you're going to laugh, Doze Dupuy. I love Doze. And
Oh my God.
I was working at his dad's house. And Mr. Wade said, you working out of that car? I said, hey, man, I got to do what I got to do. And he said, I love it. You know, he's an entrepreneur. He's a businessman.
That's true.
He said, you're going to make it. And
No way.
yeah. So not long after that, I was able to buy my first, maybe like a year in, I was able to buy my first service truck.
Okay.
Went to the bank. It was like $4,500. And I was so scared to take this loan. So scared. A year in, right?
So that's so funny. I was the same way for this podcast equipment. I went to the page to click the button, and I text one of our video guys. I said, "Hey, I'm really supposed to click this button." he said, "Yeah, man, if you want to do this,
Need it.
I'm like, all right, man, click." But go ahead. I mean, I was the same way.
That was
like about 2 months ago.
It's so scary spending money, and
my gosh.
that number just increases the more you do and the larger you get.
Yeah.
And like I don't even it still scares me spending money like that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I bought my first service truck, and that's really what did it in for me. I looked professional now. In my mind, I said I have to look
It's a
professional.
thing, yeah.
Put my nice stickers on it. I had a vinyl guy that did my stickers, and that was it.
Wow,
It was
off and
up from there.
running.
All from that. It went from there, and now we're 27 trucks, 38 people.
Wow.
Yeah, I have
What, 9 years in now?
9 years.
9 years.
9 years. I'm the second largest air conditioning company in Acadiana. 9 years in.
No way.
Butcher is the biggest, and I give it to Butcher. Like
Yeah.
whenever I was younger in my business, I didn't understand how to get to that level,
Yeah.
and it takes so much work. And they've been open
Yeah.
like 75 years. Butcher kills it. They're
Yeah.
amazing. But to see the volume that they have to do, they're the only company bigger than me.
Yeah.
And
That's insane.
I'm not saying I'm coming for it. I'm saying it's
No, but
amazing to see how big they are
you
and
learn
how
it.
much they've done. And
Yeah.
I watch them, and it's it's
Okay.
really cool.
Well, again, I kind of knew a little bit about you than the audience. So it starts growing, and then something happens
Yeah.
that makes the growing a little bit harder.
Oh yeah.
Would you like to,
let's talk
dive into that a little bit?
I'll hold it together.
It's okay if you don't.
So, like I said,
what year was that?
I started my business 2016. My wife was in decent health.
Yeah.
She was obviously taking medicine every day to control her lupus, because lupus is an autoimmune disorder. And lupus attacks a lot of different things. It can attack your personal appearance. It can give you this thing called a butterfly rash.
Oh, wow.
It can do all kind of different stuff. But for her, it attacked her lungs and her heart. That was like what it really affected.
Wow.
So 2017-ish, she kind of started getting sick. She had a lupus flare. Kind of started getting sick. Went to the doctor. They were like, "Oh, look, we got to put you on this pump, right?" So it's a PICC line. One of them, I think, no, a central line. So they did a central line first. It's a tube that goes in her chest, goes to her heart, pumps medicine. She had this cassette she'd carry around. It was supposed to be temporary, because a lot of the times it is temporary. It pumps medicine to your heart,
and then it's good,
and you're good. Ideally, what she was going to have to end up with was a double lung transplant.
Wow.
Because pH, once your lungs are hurt, it's kind of like cystic fibrosis. Once your lungs are hurt, they're not going to get better.
Yeah.
You need a double lung transplant or a miracle, one or the other.
One or two.
So she had the PICC line for about a year. Now about 6 months. It was getting worse.
Yeah.
So they said, "Hey, we're gonna do a PICC line now." The first one was a central on her chest.
Okay.
Then a PICC line. So now she's carrying around 2 cassettes with wires going into her body.
Oh man.
And poor thing, her quality of life wasn't that great, but she stayed in good spirits. We went to Disney a lot. That was her thing. So rapidly we could see her health deteriorating. So we really got on the books for the double lung transplant. We did the classes. That was going to fix her. It got to the point where she was so sick she couldn't get the double lung transplant. 2000.
I'm sorry.
You good, man?
I'm sorry.
I like talking about it. November 26, 2018. We got that out the way early.
I know.
November 26, 2018, she died. I attribute a lot of my success to knowing that I had to do what I had to do to keep her alive,
Yeah.
Be home with her, stuff like that. So, with that being said, a funny story about that is I just bought myself some life insurance the other day, because I was like, I gotta be protected.
Be ready. Yeah.
I got, millions of dollars of assets.
Yeah.
And some that I still owe on, a lot that I still owe on. It's a lot of moving parts in this. I said, if something happens to me, what's going to happen? I got to be covered.
Yeah.
So I bought some life insurance from my wife for me. But I didn't know that my first wife had bought life insurance, $20,000 in life insurance. So I was like, whenever she died, you don't realize how expensive it is to bury somebody.
Right.
So I was like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'm still early in my business. I don't have a lot of money. I have a little house. I was like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Yeah. So he's from Rockville. I forgot the guy's name, but he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey Seth, your wife bought this life insurance policy. It's not much, but it's $20,000." I was like, "No way." Yeah. So he gave me the check real quick. I was like, hell yeah, I'm just gonna ball out and give her the best casket, whatever. So I spent like $18,000 on her casket, the funeral, and the whole nine. So I think I had $2,000 extra.
That's awesome.
The headstone, all that's really expensive. I never knew.
Oh no, it's very expensive.
It's amazing how it's a business, and you don't think about that until you bury somebody. Then you're like, wow, they make money.
It's pretty good business.
Pretty good business.
I don't think they'll ever have a downtime.
So I had this. Look, there's this notion in Vermilion Parish.
Yes.
That you might have heard it over the years. There's a notion in Vermilion Parish, and I got millions of dollars when my wife passed away. I was like, if I would have been educated enough to buy life insurance at 17, which isn't possible because she got diagnosed at 18. I said I'd have been set, Yeah, 100%. I'd have been set forever. But pre-existing conditions, you pay a premium for very little life insurance.
That's correct.
And that's how I ended up with $20,000. I found out I probably paid $20,000 into it, but I was paying like $400 a month.
Yeah,
for this life insurance.
No, I mean that's being a small town that we're from, I've heard that sentiment, but regardless, like I even told you earlier, even if that was true, my man, you would have earned it. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
The time that goes behind closed doors.
Yes,
people don't understand
caregiving.
What goes into it?
You lost someone you never expected to lose that soon, man.
Yeah.
And I know you said we got over it quick, that area, but I do want to press
No,
into
we're
it,
good.
man.
We can talk about
Yeah.
it. Let's talk about it.
You know, your faith, man.
Yeah.
I know you went to a Catholic school,
Of course.
your whole life, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything,
Mhm.
you know, for anybody. You know, my faith didn't take on till like I was out in college,
Yeah.
and so as a man, like, you know, if you want to be honest, like, how was that? You know,
Oh man, it was difficult.
what did that?
So
how
it
did-
was so difficult because obviously you want to ask why. You know,
Yeah.
why me? Why did that happen to me? But I used to pray for her to get better, right? But
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
what I had to convince myself of was the getting better was not her living. The getting better was her dying and being released of all the quality of life, her burden of sickness.
Yeah.
That took a while to convince myself that was
Better.
better.
Yeah.
That's what was better, you know. I was mad for a long time. You know, naturally you're gonna be
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
But time healed that. She I have a good story. She used to love Charlene Richard. She had the
Oh wow.
the little cloth, the
Yeah.
Charlene Richard cloth.
Yeah.
And I
Who
remember
is becoming a saint, by the way? I don't know
Really?
if you knew that. Yeah. She moved up another step in the beatification process.
that is so neat.
But go ahead. Yeah.
So this is gonna be a hard one too. She had that Charlene Richard thing, and you know, I went back to work 7 days after she died. I had to go to work. I had to get my mind
Wow.
off of it. Went to this man's house, and he was like, "Fix his air conditioning." Never heard of this guy from anything. He just random guy, older guy, never met him anything. Lafayette went work on his house, and he said, "Man, you need to come check out my wife's antique store." I was like, "Man, I don't have time. You know, I got stuff to do." He's like, "No, you need to come check it out." I was like, "Okay, dude."
One of them old men, you can't tell them no.
I said, "All right, you got it, bro." So we walk next door, walk in. Right when I walk in the door, there's a counter. There's a little table like you would have right here. You know, a greeting table.
Yeah.
15 or 20 Charlene Richards on it. I was like, "No way."
Are
So-
you serious?
So I told him, I said, "Look, man, I lost my wife 7 days ago, and this is nuts."
And she would carry around Charlene Richard.
Yeah, she it was in her bed when she died.
Wow. That's beautiful, Seth.
Yeah.
You know, in my, you know, spiritual whatever formation, like they say that, you know, he's near to the brokenhearted and he wants to make himself known to those who are going through their valleys
Yeah.
and their deep loss and whatnot, man. And so like that doesn't surprise me, you know.
Yeah.
In a way,
It
I'm
was
glad.
crazy.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
a way, like it helps you grieve a little bit
Yeah.
easier.
You always want to look for signs, you know.
Yeah.
You think, "Oh, that was a sign, that was a
to
sign,
make
that was a sign."
sense. Yeah.
And you're always looking for signs. I was like, "Man, you can't deny stuff like that."
No.
Yeah.
No. And excuse me for pressing even more.
Go ahead.
Is there anything that, you know, because there may be a young man that may go through this one day or a young woman.
Yeah.
Is there anything that she told you towards the end that, or was she too,
Yeah, man, there was
You
like there
know,
was a
like-
lot.
I mean, not go, yeah, I don't know if there's just one thing that stood out to kind of help you move on.
So
Like, how was her experience? I guess what I'm saying.
she was very driven in faith. You know, she was she would keep it to herself a lot
Yeah.
because I think she thought that was going to freak me out
Yeah.
because I feel like she knew what was happening
Oh, wow.
and she couldn't like
She didn't
she
want
kept
to
it
let
to
you know.
herself. Yeah. the
Wow.
day that she died, we were at Oshner in New Orleans. She sent me home the day before because we were about to basically I was over there with her. Let's say it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I forgot what day November 26th was. Let's just say it was Tuesday. I was over there. We were talking. Doctors come in and said, "Hey, you know, it's not looking good." Beating around the bush like a doctor does. And I
Yeah.
said, "How long does she have to live?" I said, "Dude, just tell me. I mean, we're right here in front of you." He said 3 weeks. I was like, damn. So that's set
Can't
in.
even imagine that.
3 weeks. And I was like, okay, so what we gonna do? So we get on the phone. We're like, no, that ain't right. You know, you got
Yeah.
something else. You in denial. Something
Yeah.
else going on. You got cancer or something.
Yeah.
That's progressing this. So we
Yeah.
were going to transport her to Houston to a new place to get
Yeah.
a second opinion.
Yeah.
So she sent me home that Tuesday to go gather up things to
Yeah.
go to Houston. She was being transported the Wednesday. She died Wednesday morning. So
Oh, wow.
I think she knew,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that was she told me, you know, few things. Oh, it's gonna be okay, you know.
Yeah,
But she knew the whole time, and she hid it from me very well.
Wow.
Just like we hid the magnitude of her sickness from a lot of people,
Yeah.
just because it's like it was our burden. You know, we didn't want to
Yeah.
burden other people.
Yeah.
That's why it was such a shock when that Facebook post came out.
I was like, wait, what?
What?
It made that quick of a
Delaney
turn?
died? You know,
Yeah.
how?
Yeah.
But that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
it was progressively getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, she
Yeah.
did. You know, I can't say we talked an entire amount
yeah.
about her beliefs, but I knew she was. I mean, look, going back through her phone after her dream boards,
Yeah.
it was neat to see.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of
dude.
course.
Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And like, you know, good and bad, you know, the word says this too shall pass,
Mhm.
right? And so unfortunately and unfortunately, you know, life had to go on, right?
Yeah.
And so when did you start, like, you know, how has that looked, right? So she passed away and you got a business, now you got a
Yeah.
house,
Yeah.
an empty home now.
Empty home. Oh man,
It's-
silence. Look, that's one thing I can touch on. The silence is the hardest part. So I will never judge somebody for moving on quick ever in my life. A lot of people judged me
Yeah.
for moving on quick.
Yeah.
You know, in let's say November, December, January, February. In 4 months, I had a girlfriend.
Okay.
But it is crazy to think that, which I'm married to now.
Right.
I feel like Delaney handpicked her for me. So I see it from the outside looking in, because I might have been that person
Yeah.
before I
Yeah.
lost my wife. Like, damn, your husband just died 2 months ago and you're moving on. Nobody knows until you go through it how scary the silence is. You walk into a house, you can hear a pin drop. You know, that's the hardest part.
And you
So-
never wanted that to begin with.
Oh yeah, I didn't want that. You know, I was
Yeah.
married. I got married at 20 years
For a
old
reason.
for a reason. That was my goal. I wanted to be able to be a husband and provide. We were together since we were 16,
Yeah.
engaged at 19, married at 20. And like that was, and our ultimate goal was kids. She was too sick to have kids. So we were looking at adopting. We were going to adopt a surrogate. We were going to do something
Yeah.
until she kind of threw that out the window, because she was like, my health's so bad that I won't be of any help to you to raise these kids. I think she knew it was better to not have kids than to leave them without a mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was, you know, she died November. And then February, I met Darian, my
Okay.
wife.
Wow.
Met her at my friends. Look, I have amazing friends. They forced me to get out the house.
Yeah.
And I can't say I was going to try and be a hermit, but if nobody would have asked me, I would have just sat in the
Just
house.
chill, yeah.
Yeah. So I was working, I had to get to work. I had customers relying on me, things like that I knew that I had to do. And my friends would get me out of the house, and we went to this dinner at a little barn. And Darren was there. Never met this girl in my life. She's 4 years younger than me.
Okay.
So as she says, 3 years, 6 months, and 29 days. But she's like, we're not that far apart, you know. Anyway, so it's kind of like me and you. If me and you went to the same school,
Yeah.
we wouldn't know each other.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she went to Kaplan. I never heard of her, never knew of her. She didn't know of me. And I was like, oh, what do you mean you don't know of me? You know,
Yeah.
I'm famous.
I'm Seth Chapman.
Yeah, but she didn't know me. So we start talking as friends, and then you know, a couple weeks in, I was like, yeah, let's see where this goes. I'm gonna get judged for it,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And then here we are. How long is that? That's 9 years.
Already.
No, I'm sorry, 7 years. And we've been married almost 5.
Wow.
We have a beautiful little girl, Lily
Come on.
Grace, and it's wonderful. I love my wife.
Yeah.
I would say anybody that's ever going through this, that's going to listen to this, because I tried to listen to a lot of them. You have to find somebody who is going to honor your first wife or your first husband, just as if they're still living. You know, I got our wedding picture in the living room.
Yeah.
Things that you think about, how am I going to explain this to my little girl when she starts asking, who is that?
Yeah.
But that's things that we can cross later.
And some real life.
It's a real life
questions.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I knew that if I was going to, and look, I didn't date or hang out with anybody from Delaney to Darian. Darian was the first woman
Wow.
that I got to
Yeah.
hang out with.
And in the mariner.
And I married her. Yeah, it was wonderful. And you know, here you're gonna like this. It's very, very cool. Now that I got my emotions out the way, I can talk about this easy, because this is the first time I've ever told anyone this besides maybe like my dad or somebody. So Delaney, whenever she got sick, she went into this psychosis. One of the first 2 times, she was just heavily medicated to
Yeah.
get the lupus under control, and she had this fever dream where she saw 2 kids. She was like, "Who are these kids?" She woke up. She was like, "No, I know these kids. Who are these kids?" um, There's no family. There's no family that we have with 2 kids. She was like, "No, it's 2 small kids." Well, me and Darian have a little girl now, but we had 2 miscarriages before we had a little girl, and
Wait, what?
I firmly believe that that's the 2 kids that
100%.
Delaney saw. And we're like, damn, we're trying to have kids, and we're like, man, it's not working. You lose. Miscarriage is hard.
Yeah.
You got to console your wife, and you're like, how? Why can't we just have a kid? Everybody that goes through miscarriages, and look, once you have a miscarriage, it's like, wow, it's that popular. It's like 50%
Cool.
have miscarriages. So we had 2 miscarriages. Third one was Lily, and I was like,
Wow.
that was
that's
the
the
2 kids. Yeah, I believe that firmly.
Yeah, your
yeah.
spirit's telling you. Yeah, your gut's telling you.
Yeah.
Wow. Man.
So we couldn't figure that out for a long time. My Delaney's sister has kids. They adopted 4 beautiful little kids.
Wow.
So they're all siblings too. It's amazing. So we're like, okay, that can't be it. Delaney has no other siblings. I have my
Right,
little
y'all were trying
brother.
to figure it
I
out.
was like, who are these 2 kids? Boom.
You immediately
Immediately.
that
I mean, back
came
to
to your
back.
mind. That
Yeah.
came to your mind.
Once we had the first one, I was like, there's no way, we'll have a second miscarriage. It doesn't happen. Second miscarriage. I said, there it is.
There it is.
And I told Darian, I was like, we're not going to have any more miscarriages. I'm telling you, this third one's going to be. So
Man,
that's on the record. That's the first time that's public.
About to get me emotional.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's wild. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. So Lily Grace is 15 months. Actually, she'll be
See.
16 months and 4 days
Come on,
on
man.
the 29th. Yeah,
What
she's
a-
wonderful.
What a beautiful life. Man, I appreciate you sharing that, man.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows you as the blow and go
Oh yeah,
Chapman's AC guy.
yeah.
I
Calling
did
people on
this-
the internet.
Yeah.
They don't know this guy.
Yeah,
This
we're
guy's
gonna
not on TikTok.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that, which is cool too. Though I think there's a uniqueness in that as well. But man, like how awesome, man.
Yeah,
How
that was
awesome
wonderful.
God has redeemed it as much as He could. All those situations. And so now you have this small little family.
Mhm.
You're 9 months in. You're at almost 30 trucks now.
Yeah,
And I've noticed on social media, man, you have become a presence.
yeah.
And I want to let you know, I was at the donut shop a couple weeks ago, and you're making an impact on social media.
That's awesome.
You're not just riling people up with your
My post.
your
Calling
posts
people out.
about
Yeah.
negative reviews, but I'll let you explain a little bit more about what I'm going to say. But you had told people on social media, go to Messi's Donuts and you can spend $500. The first person to mention my name gets $500 in donuts, whatever. And I don't know if you knew this. I'm sure you did, but that lady was struggling.
Yeah. She told me that
lady,
day she wasn't gonna make payroll.
she was not going to make payroll.
Yeah, she
I
told
don't.
me that.
You understand?
That's crazy.
Do you understand?
It's not crazy that you wasn't gonna make it. It's crazy that
It all tied in.
all tied in.
Like you saying, hey, y'all go to this place, I'm gonna get $500, and that she needed that money to make her payroll, man.
Yeah.
And so you may be asking, like, what did he do online? Well, he's a business owner, and he does a lot of marketing and whatnot through social media, and positive and negative reviews are very important to the branding of a business and whatnot. And so he's taken it upon himself to pay attention to the reviews, good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has a very intense customer service department. And so I'll kind of let him share a little bit more, like, what got you into that, and where are you with that?
What I noticed was building my companies. Chapman's AC is what started it all, and I had to be revolving around customer service. I had to be the first to answer, the first to show up, because when people are hot, they're not going to wait. So I built my company on speed, and speed solves most problems.
Yeah.
So I've started this presence online where people whenever you purchase something, you have to have a face behind it. People want to know who they're buying from, and you can't be a bad person if they're going to buy from you, because this wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
So I built my personal brand, my online presence as Seth Chapman. He's the guy behind Chapman's AC, Perry Outfitters, Island Bait and Tackle, whatever all my other little businesses are. And with that online presence, I feel like I have a duty to hold people accountable for hurting the reputation of small businesses that don't have an online presence, or they're too bashful to say crazy things online like I do sometimes, or call people out. And what started the Meshes donut thing was, and it's funny, this guy actually apologized. So kudos to him for manning up and admitting his wrongdoing. So anyway, he wanted to get hired at Perry Outfitters, my little store, and we'd already filled the spot, and he got real salty about it, and he left some mean comments. Um, and then he called one day and he was like, "You could have just told me you weren't going to hire me." And it's like, we don't hire on the spot, it's a process. We can't just hire anybody off the street. It's a process. We had people in front of you; they fit the position. So anyway, long story short, he left me some bad reviews, some fake bad reviews, from like 4 or 5 burner accounts, and it really ticked me off. So I made this Facebook post and it went viral, and I might have said some hurtful things,
Yeah.
but it was warranted in my opinion at the time, and it got him to apologize, and it also got a lot of people to rally around these businesses that he also left these bad reviews for. So one of them was Meshes, another one was Healthworks,
Wow.
another one was another local car wash company. And I said, you know what? If nobody's basically, they were calling me a bully for bullying this guy
Yeah.
that is bullying small businesses, and I'm not the one. I'm not a bully, and I'm not the one to let people bully other people. And that's what it came down to. It wasn't a certain group of people were calling me a bully.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I
Yeah.
don't know. So anyway, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go and donate to these businesses. So I think I did $500 at Meshes. I did 6 memberships at the Healthworks. And I said, y'all go. Whoever's the first to get these memberships and these donuts, here it is. If he's not going to do the right thing, which he ended up doing after I donated a little bit, and I'm just thankful to be in the position to be able to donate, or be in the position to have a following, to be able to promote good reviews. And fake reviews can tank a business. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't look at the bad reviews because," but a lot of people do. I mean, I have like 1,500 reviews on Chapman's AC, and I know people look at them because I'm a review looker.
Yeah.
And I'm a big advocate about just not hurting small businesses whenever you don't know what a small business goes through. Like Perry, people probably think my Perry store does absolutely bonkers, but they don't realize the amount of overhead it takes. Like the store makes money, but it's still hard.
Yeah.
So a place like Meshes or Healthworks in Abbeville, where there's not a huge population,
clientele,
that will tank a business.
Yeah.
And the lady was very, very, very thankful. And look, I've been going to Meshes my whole life. That was like where you stopped before donuts, before you went to mass.
Your mass,
on Wednesday. Like that was our Thursday. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, and to kind of like clarify what he did. So when he went and donated this $500, guys, I kind of want to highlight this. When he donated this $500, what he did not know was this lady was truly struggling to pay her own bills. She's a new owner of Meshes, and she's starting out trying to create her brand.
That's it.
And so this $500 played a very important role in her making her bills that month. And so I say that to say, guys, like your generosity can change people's lives. There are some people in this community and beyond this community that God and your work ethic has blessed you abundantly. And so don't believe that you can outgive the universe.
Yeah.
It will come back to you.
Absolutely.
It'll come back to your brand. It'll come back to your family, any which way. So I just want to highlight, what you're doing, but also highlight your generosity and understanding that's part of your brand and why you have been so successful.
It is, yeah. I try and give back to, especially Remain Catholic, because you're a Remain Catholic guy too.
Oh yeah.
I'm so biased to it, but I feel like this is the best high school. Your community is so close knit. I probably have 75% of Remain Catholics air conditioned work, not the school, but the people that I graduated with, the people above me, the people below me. So many generations use Chapman's AC, and I'm just so thankful for that. I started my business in Vermilion Parish, even though I moved the location to Lafayette. Vermilion Parish is where my roots are. I just had to be closer to the parts houses. And there's not a community like Vermilion Parish.
I tell people that all the time. Like, it's not. It won't have.
Catholic.
Vermilion Catholic, I tell people this all the time. Like, it's not the most modern community. It's not the most updated with technology. But the community, the people, it's just different. It's it's an extended family. I said that on one of my podcasts last month. Everyone's focused on going to these big schools. Man, don't despise small beginnings. I keep saying the scripture, but the scripture says, you're faithful over small, God will make you a leader over many. And so, like, even small places like this can still build you into something phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's your clientele that are part of this school that pretty much has helped you get.
That really is it. People trusting me.
Yeah.
Because of where I came from or who I came from, and it takes a lot to let somebody in your home that you've never met, you don't know. You have to build a image that they would allow you in their home,
Yeah.
and then to trust your guys under you. Oh, if he hired them, he's probably a good guy.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So, man, all right. Now we'll get some of this really rolling now. So let's get to the nitty gritty. I saw recently you made a post about what you did in a month and whatnot.
Yeah.
You can get to that point, but what have you learned? Like, if you had, there's some young entrepreneurs listening to you, give them maybe 1 or 2 bullet points of, how you went from, 1 to, to 10 to 15, whatever.
20,
and to now the financial aspect.
Yeah.
I think you hit 6 figures. You didn't make that, but 7.
Yeah, 7 figures.
You hit 7 figures in July. Yeah. So kind of give them a little short.
That's like that's my area now.
I know.
It took me so long to fine tune because I spent so many years not producing a net profit. I wasn't profitable. I was just cash flowing. And I realized early on that all the people that started air conditioning companies at the same time as me, there's quite a few of them, they'd buy a brand new truck. They'd buy, the coolest stuff, the most advertising. And I'm over here, started with my car. Then I bought my first used truck. And I invested into people instead of investing into myself for a long time. I stayed, I'm going to call it broke myself so I can invest into people. I've lived in I did $6 million last year and I'm still living in my mobile home. I built a new house, but I'm just to the point. It takes a long time to get there. So I've always invested into people and turning people from helpers into technicians. People is your greatest asset. And that is the only way you can build a company or sustain a high level of work. So like whenever I was by myself in the field for the first year, I realized that I can only do 10 or 12 calls a day. And I'm thankful to get these 10 or 12 calls, but then I was upsetting people because I was forgetting to call them back, things like that. So then I'd hire a helper and I bought my second service truck from Marcus Bro's Auto Sales right there in Perry. And did the work myself. Thankfully, I'm mechanically inclined, right? I've always, I will say that has helped me. I've always fixed my own trucks, repaired my own trucks, put on my own work beds.
Yeah.
Whether it was in the gravel with a AutoZone jack, I still did it myself. Rotated my tires, A lot of people don't have that luxury or the hands-on skill set to be able to do that work themselves. So then they have to pay for it. Yeah. I worked on my own truck stuff until I had 10 trucks on the road.
Wow.
Then I had to start.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Bringing them places. It was too much. So I would say you cannot do everything by yourself and you have to rely on people, but you have to have the right people and you have to mold them into what you want. So I took my first helper and he stayed with me 4 or 5 years until he went on to his dad's company that he's going to be taking over. Oh. It's a duct cleaning company. He's my best friend now.
Yeah.
And look, I have a lot of amazing best friends, and we've kept that circle so tight ever since high school. So people want to spend too much. They make a little bit of money and then they spend it right away. Business owners, in my opinion, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I made this money. I can take off for a week." But I was so hungry early on. I think what did it for me is I knew that I was going to have a slow season, or I knew that I was going to have a big bill coming up. So I never got complacent. I stayed hungry the whole time, and I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
And then my guys are hungry.
Yeah.
So we go from 0 trucks, 1 truck, to my 4th truck was my operations manager now, Kenley Broussard.
Cool.
And he was my 4th truck. And then I realized, look, he pulled up to the house one day and I had my head in my hands and my face was red. My blood pressure was through the roof. And I was like, man, I can't do it no more. I said, I can't take it. He was like, give me the phone for a day. I was like, oh, I don't know. This is my lifeline. He's like, give me the phone for a day. So I gave it to him. And that was the first day I actually felt peace in like 4 years.
Wow.
I was so stressed.
Yeah.
And we went from 4 trucks to 27 trucks in 5 years from me giving that phone away.
No way.
Delegating. Delegating is the biggest thing. So anybody starting out thinking you can do it all, you can do it all for about a year, but you'll never grow unless you delegate.
Wow, man.
And that's what did it. Yeah.
Delegation and people, investing in people. Man, that's awesome. That's good stuff, dude.
Yeah. So, my first year in business, we did 163,000. I think that was from that March to December. And I was like, that is it. I'm the richest man in the world. I made it. And I got to the end of the year and I had a tax bill and I didn't have any money. I was like, oh
wow.
And I didn't profit 163.
No, but I
probably made like, I don't know, 30,000 or something like that. Yeah. But that was it. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
And then, it just gradually went better. Then I remember hitting my first $1 million year. And not having hardly any money. And I was like, God, but we did $1 million, but I didn't know how to track money. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I will say my ignorance as a business owner on the money side is what helped me grow. Because I'd find a truck, I'd buy it. I'd buy it. I was never scared to buy a truck because I wasn't really thinking about the consequences. So I'd buy a truck, I'd put somebody in it. And by the time I knew it, I had 10 trucks. And I was like, oh man, I got a lot of trucks. And then you hear these companies talking about me. Man, I got 10 trucks on the road.
Wow.
And then we just, June, July 2025, I did my first $1 million month, $1,047,000.
Wow.
And I was chasing that number so long. I thought that was it. That was going to be the end all be all. And then I hit that number and I was like, it was just way more headache, It was just a number that I thought I needed to hit.
Yeah.
And we had so many sheetrock repairs and just blown tires and trailer tires. It was like my overhead was so crazy for that month. We did a good net profit, but net profit has to get floated into your slow months.
Yeah.
My payroll is $250,000 a month.
Wow.
So that's like, the number just increases and so does the headache.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't realize that.
People don't realize the amount of...
More money, more problems.
That's it. I totally understand it now. I thought it was going to be like, oh yeah, that's going to be nothing. No, it's just headache. Moving parts. It's a machine that we've built now and I have managers in place and all kind of things, processes and procedures. And so do not chase the number. You can chase a goal, but all the young guys that are starting out that want to make 6 figures, that's their goal. 6 figures. That's not a good goal. You need to chase quality of life and time. You can't you cannot buy back time. And that's something I think I experienced early on, which is probably why I'm so frivolous, is that my first wife died early and she didn't get to experience half the stuff we wanted. Yeah. So I know that time is so short. I could go outside and get hit by a train. Time is so short. I'm going to enjoy it now. We're going to travel, but do it mindfully.
Amen.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. I mean, what a beautiful story, dude, of just persistence, work ethic, grit, and and a whole lot of hope in the process, man.
No quit.
That's pretty cool, man. Honestly, I would say, like, I usually close up the interview by saying, tell the audience your favorite verse or give them some wisdom. You kind of already gave them the wisdom just now, so maybe. Is there any motto though, like a little summarized motto or movie quote that you kind of enjoy repeating over and over again as life has been happening to you?
Yeah, it's I can't say it's the most. It's the most. I had a good friend after Delaney died, and there two things that are certain is how did it go? Suffering and uncertainty. Suffering and uncertainty are the two things that are going to happen in your life that you cannot control. You're going to suffer at some point, and you're always going to be uncertain. And another one was death and taxes. That's two things that...
I stay with the suffering and uncertainty one.
Suffering and uncertainty.
That's good.
That's something that stuck with me a long time. It's actually... Look, it's funny I'm wearing this. My buddy Nick with Power Line, he told me that. He gave me a book. Right after my first wife died, and that's what it was: suffering and uncertainty. Yeah.
And I mean, that is so spiritual. Like, that's the beauty of our relation with Jesus Christ. Like, he's the only thing that can take suffering and bring something good out of it. And that's the hope of the gospel. That's the hope of what he's done for us. And so, man, good stuff, dude. Like, I appreciate you coming and sharing your heart and your passion.
That was a real good one. A lot of stuff nobody's ever heard.
Yeah.
And, even the previous podcast I did, it was this was a deep one. So It's
Yeah.
gonna be a good podcast.
Awesome. You mind if I close out in a prayer?
Absolutely, go ahead.
All right. In the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Father God, we just want to thank you for this encounter and this fellowship. I ask that you just send your Holy Spirit upon Seth's hands. Everything he touches, may it be blessed. I ask that you send your spirit of protection over his wife and his daughter, as that you continue to guide them and protect them and wrap them in your arms so they can continue to do the things you've called them to do, and that they can enjoy the plan that you have for their life. And we ask that you go out to anyone out there that may be struggling with building a business and they're feeling a spirit of despair or hopelessness, that you can give them this grit and this spirit of perseverance to keep on, that if they keep knocking, the door will open for them and they will achieve the things that they're aspiring to if they just do not quit. And so, Father God, we offer this up in your Jesus' holy name. Amen. Appreciate it, my man.
Thank you, man. Yeah,
Always.
Thank you.
It was great.
That was awesome.